Hello, everybody, and welcome to 21st Century Vitalism, podcast asking the question, what does it mean to be fully alive in the 21st century, and how can we best embody that aliveness while dealing with the unique stressors we're facing in this really strange and potent time? My name is Brett Kane, and today you are joining us for a book review episode, which is what I do every other week. This week we are going to be diving into a book that I actually just got, I think it was like maybe 2 weeks ago, and I'm already most of the way through because it is really profound for me. It's maybe a little bit niche for folks who aren't in the bodywork realm. This might not be 100% relevant, but there's a lot of information in here that I think is actually worth checking out, even if you're not into it, because it's just fascinating. So what we're going to be talking about today is Massage is Weird by Ian Harvey. If you're unfamiliar with Ian Harvey, he goes by Massage Sloth. He's a YouTube tutorial creator and licensed massage therapist who's been in the game for 15 or so years. I first heard about him from one of my teachers as I was graduating in 2020. Odd year to graduate, massage therapy program if you're at all living not in a cave. So I ended up graduating, and I missed about 2 months of my massage program, at least the in-person aspect of it. We did some like virtual stuff, but my teacher gave me Massage Sloth's YouTube page, and I started devouring a lot of his content. His work is really, really great. He has really thorough and comprehensive tutorials that really just kind of instill within you the philosophy that he goes by, and it's something that it's at a point it's so interwoven with my style at this point that I'm not sure if I heard things from him or if it's something I got from somewhere else, but his style is very compassionate, it's very effective, and it's something it's been really giving me a lot of passion for this profession, and it's something that I am just really grateful for having come into contact with his material. So the fact that he ended up releasing a book, this is a very new book, I think it was a couple weeks ago. I ended up getting it first week that it dropped because I knew that this was going to be a banger of a book, and it is. For the folks out there who are massage therapists or just body workers of any kind, if you're in the healthcare field, there is so much to be gleaned from this. What we're really looking at is everything that he knows from 15 years in the industry, from the philosophy of massage, the science. I mean, it's not just philosophy. He actually draws from a lot of scientific papers on what exactly is happening in the therapeutic setting, what isn't happening. There's a great deal of myth busting in this book, which I love. I think that as much as I love the massage therapy field, there is a lot of snake oil salesmen out there. There's a lot of people who have these programs and these courses you can take that are frankly not rooted in any sort of scientific vigor. And I even consider myself fringe in that stance, but most people would say I'm pretty hardline in that I think that placebo has a very strong role to play in wellness, and I think the intention you as a client and your therapist have coming together, if there's a mutual rapport, then I really think that amazing things can happen. So I'm like pretty open, but also if there's science saying that is not what's happening, I'm not going to incorporate that into my philosophy, and I'm not going to talk to my clients about it. But there's a lot of therapists out there who are putting out a lot of faulty information. So I'm just going to put that out there to, if you are looking to get massage therapy, do your research and look for people who are actually standing in integrity and with evidence-based practice, because it is very important. So what this book really is it's a treatise on how to live a successful life as a massage therapist. This is a really cool profession. For those of you who are in it, you know exactly what I'm talking about. There's really nothing quite like it, and that we're a healthcare provider who is one of the few healthcare providers showing up and giving an hour of our undivided time and attention to a client's body, listening to their stories of pain, and actually showing genuine compassion. You have to have that as kind of a baseline if you're going to get into this field and actually be successful too. So much is communicated through the power of touch, and this is really, it's the art and science of using touch to alleviate pain, depression, anxiety. And this book takes you not just from like the science of what's actually happening, healthy philosophy to take to mitigate burnout, but it also goes into the business aspect of things. It talks a lot about communication, and that's really my biggest download from this. I'm starting to realize that as much as I talk, I have a podcast, I could be so much more in depth with my clients, and this is really inspiring me and radicalizing my practice to really step into the role of expert, really step into the role of healthcare professional. I've kind of skirted away from that, and this is really saying like, hey, you know your stuff, you're the expert in the room. So it's really inspiring me to really, really know my stuff. So just a brief overview of what you're going to be looking at with this book, and why I think it's relevant. I mean, even if you're not a massage therapist, if you're considering the field, this book is exactly what you need, because it is very accurate to the lifestyle of a massage therapist. If you're somebody who isn't planning on doing this at all, but is interested in the body, is interested in the kind of like social science of power differentials, there's a lot of talk about that, which is a very important concept. I ate some almonds right before this, and I got chills. So yeah, this is a really powerful book. Even if you don't go out and buy it, if this isn't your field, I suggest checking it out at the library and read the chapters that are relevant to you as a client, of which you'll kind of pick up on. It's really cool to have your own philosophy when you're searching for a bodywork practitioner, so that you really have some sort of literacy on what it is that you're shopping for. If you don't know, then you're just going to settle for the first thing, and it might not actually be a good fit. So this is really good for clients as well. Anybody who's immersed in receiving or giving bodywork, it's really useful. So just to take a quick look at the table of contents, so you can kind of get like a flavor for what is on offer here. And again, it is a lot. It's like the How to Be a Massage Therapist for Dummies. So the first chapter is called, and these are funny chapters, but I suck at massage. And essentially he's just saying, it's where he addresses imposter syndrome and the fact that even a bad massage is still a massage, and it's still pretty good, So it really is answering to people who have self-conscious, who have that imposter syndrome creeping in, where they're like, oh, the work I'm doing is just not effective. And it really is just a call for self-compassion. Oh, that almond is coming back with vengeance. But this is a really important thing to start off, especially for massage therapy students. It can be really overwhelming when you start working with the general public, and that self-doubt is going to creep in. And I mean, from my experience, even when I had strong self-doubt, my clients didn't even notice. But to us, it feels like every move is like the world is ending until you really get some competency with it. So this is really just answering that experience, that gate that pretty much every new therapist is going to end up walking through, of being confident, trusting your training, and really just having fun, and really it invites a lot of magic into the world of massage therapy. And it's not magic and again pseudoscience type stuff, but it's this is a very beautiful practice that has the potential to create really important lasting change, and frankly could be one of the best parts of somebody's life. It's something that people look forward to. So starting right off the bat on gentleness, of compassion, of treating yourself well, I think is a really smart choice on his call. And he even talks about some of his own stories of his own imposter syndrome, even after 15 years, so that radical honesty with it is also really important, that he exhibits that. And it's like, hey, this is a part of being a human. You're always going to have a little bit of self-doubt. So just being able to create a cradle of loving kindness to hold that self-doubt in is really important. And yeah, definitely. I don't have it as much these days, but reading it really, really secured that sense of this is a good vocation. This is something that is important for the world. And a lot of people really, really enjoy it. The second chapter is I Suck at Deep Tissue. So this is answering one of the most common things people associate massage with. Whenever you think of massage, the cultural, how it's always represented is someone's on the table and the therapist is pile driving them into the table. And it's oh, and really painful. So this is addressing that massage doesn't need to hurt. It actually, and he goes into the science of this. I won't articulate all of it. But essentially, if it's hurting, it's actually kind of causing harm. in some situations. So it kind of talks about like what actual deep tissue is, and I'll actually have a reading at the end of this to kind of go over that, because I think it's actually really important. Because a lot of people look for that. They look to go get hurt, and they think that that's what's beneficial, when really the nervous system is trying to get them to stop. That's why pain is there. It's a signal of danger. So he kind of talks about the philosophy of human-centered, working with the nervous system, compassionate care, and how you can have really effective results and a really enjoyable experience, even if you're usually somebody who is used to cracking and getting bruised up and all that. So that's really important. I'm glad that that was his second chapter, kind of like the doorway after the entrance. The third one is pain doesn't make sense. And this is, I mean, for anybody, this isn't just for therapists. It's the science of pain, or at least all the theories that we have about it, nociception, and that also really creates a solid framework for that human-centered approach of not causing any harm. Because when you really understand the science of pain, you start to think about it in a little bit differently. A lot of the times, people think that their issue, their bad back, their tight shoulders, it's more of a mechanical issue. But this chapter really goes into the fact that pain and tension is actually a neurological situation. It's your nervous system that has, after overuse, it has a bunch of responses, which creates tension in the body. And so by understanding that, having a clear grasp on the science of pain as a massage therapist, that's what we're working with. So really important, really, really important. The fourth chapter is I'm Afraid of Butts. And this is really all about kind of just the kitchen sink level of, it's a very intimate practice. And we are working in a lot of vulnerable areas, and it's all about kind of ethics. It's about what to do when somebody starts creeping on you and crossing your boundaries. How can you best communicate when like hip work needs to be done? And just like how to engage with that. You know, that's something that I think a lot of new therapists, myself included, go through a phase where it's like, oh, I don't know if I really want to compress the glutes. I just feel a little nervous about it. What if they think it's the wrong way? But this helps you kind of, I mean, that is such an important area of the body. Your hips is where so much is stored. So this really walks you through that process, and like what happens if you're a germaphobe, which he actually admits he was when he first started. He openly admits to having OCD and was always washing his hands. So his journey into being able to be an effective massage therapist who worked the entire body, it's really important. And I think it's also important for non-therapists to kind of grok that as well, because, you know, you are a whole body, and missing one of the parts, you know, within reason is doing yourself a disservice, especially when it's like in the hip region. So that one was also really good. And that actually gets into trauma as well. That's an important topic of conversation for therapists, because it is such an intimate thing. We have our hands on somebody's body, and there's a lot of emotions stored in the body. And especially if somebody had a traumatic event in their life, it's important to understand how trauma operates. And this book goes fairly into detail on how to notice the signs if somebody's having a traumatic episode. What do you do in that situation? How do you best communicate? So that's a very important chapter for, I mean, ethics, for boundaries, for understanding what's acceptable, what's not acceptable. The fifth chapter is I'm the One in Pain. And this is answering the fact that we as massage therapists are doing a very physically demanding job, often for 5-7 hours a day. You know, I've heard someone say that the next difficult job, most physically demanding, is ditch digging. And yeah, we definitely can't work a full 40-hour week because the rate of burnout from physical injury is very high. So this is all about taking care of your body, especially if you're somebody who has a very full schedule and has a lot of clients. You're going to end up hurting. And I really like that he points out in this chapter that, like, it's okay. Don't feel shame if you do end up hurting. It's pretty much guaranteed. But it's also not just because of massage. Every occupation has its associated injury patterns. So even working at an office, if you're just sitting there, you're going to end up with a painful low back. So it's framing it in a sense that, yes, this might have a higher risk for injury, but you can actually do things about it beyond just your posture. But there's kind of symptom management stuff, and there's ways to really limit and narrow down the amount of time spent in pain so you can get back to your practice and continue doing what you love. That's huge. Self-preservation is massive. In a field where we're helping people, it helps to be helped. And no one else is going to be able to do that but you. And, if you have some trades with another therapist, which I really suggest. The 6th chapter is My Clients Are Driving Me Crazy. And this is all about boundaries. This is all about how to respect yourself as a healthcare professional, how to not let people take advantage of you, how to cut out clients that aren't working for you, it's going to happen. There's going to be moments when people are going to ask things of you that you're not ready to do, i.e. deep pressure that isn't good for your body. And frankly, it probably isn't good for their body, but a lot of people are adrenaline junkies, so that's a part of the territory. So it's learning how to break things off with problematic clients. It's how to set healthy boundaries, how to respect your own time so that you're not beholden to people. You always want to put the clients first, but you also need to take care of yourself. It's really a self-care chapter, and that's something I think is crazy. It's crazy important, that is, in that we're in a profession where we want to help people, and oftentimes helping people means that we put ourselves second because we're naturally empathetic people. We're in an industry where we're providing people with a beautiful experience, and that's what draws us. That's what we're passionate about. So that chapter is really important so you can check yourself. If you start having your toes stepped on, you'll be able to be a lot more alert to that and be able to catch it before it really gets into something problematic. And he gives you a lot of really great prompts for working with people, and he even says, you're going to probably be shy when you have to, draw a line somewhere, but do it anyway. Just put that wall down and abide by it. And it's going to help your practice in the long run. Even if you miss out on a client, you're going to be able to create an environment and a practice where you're the professional. You value your time, you honor your craft, your artistry, and that's what creates the container for other people to do that. But if you don't do that, if you don't have self-respect and you can't put those walls down, then people aren't going to respect you. So that chapter is very in-depth, and I thought that was also useful. Next chapter is Business is Scary. This is a really long one, and one that really kicked me in the pants. It was one that I realized that, and this is just like last week, where I was like, oh, I'm missing out on so much of the intricacies of what it means to have a massage business. So I'm so glad that I'm reading this, because going into this next year, if you're onto this platform, you'll see some changes, because this has inspired me to really make a name for myself in this field and actually step beyond my comfort zone working for other people, which is fine. I'm enjoying it now. I'm getting to see a lot of bodies, but this really paints a beautiful map and demystifies so much of that process and really points you in all the right directions. It pretty much, you could just have a layout and then plug in what you need from there, and it's really good. It's worth the price of the book in itself. I think a lot of folks who are in the massage industry are naturally going towards entrepreneurship, but a lot of people, myself included, don't really have a strong sense of financial literacy or business literacy. There's so much out there. There's so much advice and words, and this really is just the bare bones skeleton. Here's how you start your business. Here's what to look out for. Here's how you do advertising. Here's how you get new clients. Here's what you don't do to get new clients. Here's how to structure it in a way that honors you and sets it up so you can actually retire. Hearing him say that you can save enough to retire through this profession, it was I literally didn't even consider that. I just thought that I would do a bunch of other things. So it was really, really good. I'm going to be using this book probably for the remainder of next year. Just checking back and filling out and just following the steps, because it's good. It's really good information. The next chapter I also really liked. It's I Don't Know What to Say to Clients. And this is one of the biggest ones next to the business for me, in that I was not engaging with my clients to the degree that I think I could. And it really inspired me to step into the educational role as well. And I think that that's a really profound opportunity that we have as massage therapists, that we're educating our clients about their bodies, but to really step into that and to communicate, and also constantly ask for consent and check boundaries and just all these things that can really elevate your work beyond just the fact that you're a good therapist. It makes you a good business it's really good. It's important to know how to talk to your clients and to be able to build that rapport, because that's what's going to get them to come back. If they feel like you're actually listening to them, whoa, crazy. That's huge. That's really huge, that you're personable, and like, what are the limitations with that? How do you navigate that? So this has given me a lot to work with. It's given me a lot to think about and ponder, and it's so good. Next chapter, chapter 9, is I'm so burned out, and it's all about avoiding burnout. This industry has a very high burnout rate. Don't let that scare you if you're about to be getting into it. It's very beautiful. It's very worth it. You can avoid it. My teacher has been doing it for, I think, like 22 years, and she's been at like 25 to 30 hours a week, every week, and she doesn't have any pain. It's amazing. It's, having people like that in your life also really helpful, so you have someone to learn from. But burnout's huge. So he addresses physical, emotional, financial, all the burnouts, the causes, what to look for, how it creeps in. Very important in this field. The 10th chapter is I don't know what massage does. And this, again, doubles back into, he starts citing a lot of papers, a lot of research papers on what is actually out there, what is in the books, 100%. This is what massage does. And again, that's very important with the communication to clients, to be able to sell your service, to be able to actually know what you're talking about when you engage with people. Does it help with headaches? Does it help with TMJ? What does it do for shoulder pain? What does it do for frozen shoulder? All these things, it helps to have a bed of knowledge. And he points out also how to check research papers, because not all research papers are created equally. So again, that goes to the snake oil salesman. So he educates you on how to find quality research and how to be able to lean into that and trust it. And there's a lot of ins and outs to that. So that's really cool. The 11th chapter, Massaging Like a Sloth, is about his style. It's how he approaches the practice, what he has done for his success and his view into how to work with the body. I haven't actually gotten there yet. I skimmed through it a little bit because I haven't finished. I'm near the end, but it looked pretty good from what I could tell. And chapter 12 is bringing it all together. So that's going to be a recap of everything, kind of some core principles. And that's what you're going to be getting with this book in a nutshell. I mean, I barely scratched the surface outside of reading the chapter names and the quickest things that I could remember. But again, if you're a body worker, this book is the book. It's the book in 2021. Plus, it's really fun to read. It's like he's got a lot of jokes. His voice comes through really clearly. And it's very enjoyable. So I just wanted to read a tiny bit from the very beginning, spoiler free. I don't know, do books like this have spoilers? Let me just see here. Yeah. So this is from chapter 2, I Suck at Deep Tissue. And the title of this section is The Massage Therapist as Mechanic. This is a seductive philosophy, and it's one that really sucked me in at first. There was a heady confidence that came with knowing the real way to deal with pain, and how to easily treat conditions that doctors seem so inept at handling. And you know what? I was wrong. Not only was I wrong, but I was putting way too much pressure on myself. Let's deal with the mechanic myth. I see it a lot when dealing with different massage modalities and gurus. The thinking is that if we could just balance the hips or help the feet contact the floor or align the spine, then everything else will follow. Pain will be resolved, movement will be easier, and we'll be treating the cause rather than the symptom. This is all predicated on the idea that we can create long-term changes to the body in a single session. We make prolonged contact with fascia and soften and lengthen it, allowing the client to stand taller. We break up adhesions in long abused regions of sliding myofascia to allow new movement and less pain. We reconfigure the body to make it work better. This, according to my clinical experience and my reading of the research, is incorrect. The collagen that we have been told to break up is stronger than the surrounding tissue, making our task impossible without inflicting trauma. Fascia, while invested with the same contractile tissue, is not easily changed in a lasting way by short-term stimuli, but rather by long-term stresses like gravity and aging. If somebody had a head-forward posture, this is a configuration they've earned over the course of years. Skipping ahead a little bit. The title of this section is, So We Can't Really Fix? Let me walk that back a bit. The contact that we make has many effects at microscopic and macroscopic scales. As your fist glides along the gastrocnemius muscle, a lot of stuff is happening. Shear forces are being introduced in ways that the body isn't used to, stimulating the nervous system in ways that it doesn't get when the client is just walking around. No matter how gentle you are, the mechanical deformation you create is causing microtrauma in the local collagen and muscle fibers, causing the release of pro and anti-inflammatory chemical messengers. Fibroblasts and immune cells are getting activated by this chemical cascade and leaping into action. As you lift a client's scapula and mobilize it, more of that nervous system stimulation and microscopic chaos is happening. You're also causing the subscapular bursae, remember those friction-reducing sacs that the body puts between moving surfaces, to depressurize and platform in ways they're not used to, which might cause the synovial membrane to secrete more fluid. As you apply pressure to the thoracic region, the thoracic spine changes shape. Stretch receptors embedded in the fascia send that information to the central nervous system, letting it know that this new shape is possible. At the same time, the facet joints and intervertebral discs are deforming and decompressing, causing a chemical cascade that may result in collagen remodeling and tissue hydration. Now, it should be noted that these effects are not unique to massage. These little recalibrations of the internal environment are happening all the time, with every step, with every stretch. A person can change the structure of their body over the course of time just by giving their body function-promoting stimuli. Massage is one such stimulus. Indeed, these changes will usually be subtle. One workout won't make you stand any straighter, or make your muscles bigger, or relieve your knee pain. 100 workouts over the course of a year can make measurable changes in all these areas. In the same way, a single massage won't break up an adhesion or soften scar tissue. It won't loosen tight hip rotators permanently or change the lumbar curvature. 100 massages over the course of a few years can affect all these things. The scar tissue, via the reconstructive work of its embedded cells, may have softened. The hip muscles may have recognized their ability to stretch and to live with less tone. The human will have a new awareness of their shoulders and low back, and they may be able to sit at work without turning into a tight ball of pain. And yes, big changes can happen after a single massage. I see many clients get headache relief after a single massage. TMJ dysfunction can resolve after 2 or 3. Wrists stop hurting, frozen shoulders unlock, and sciatica pain drops. How is this possible if we're not changing the structure in big ways? To answer this, we'll need to explore more about how pain works and why it exists in the first place. And then it gets into the deep tissue and then the chapter on pain. So that was my overview of Massage is Weird. Really, really suggest it. As a body worker, I frankly think it's imperative. Doesn't matter if you've been in the game for a long time. There's some stuff in here that you're going to really enjoy. As a client of body work, I also think it's worth having. If you have a relationship with somebody who, as your therapist, this book will help you understand them and their philosophies a little bit more, and then maybe help you even choose somebody who's a better fit. So yeah, thank you so much for tuning in. I hope that you enjoyed this and all the prior book reviews. I enjoy doing these just because I enjoy reading. I already have like 5 other books. I got a problem. It's an actual problem. So yeah, that was Ian Harvey, Massage Sloth. Check him out on YouTube. Check out his website. He's got a lot of educational stuff. Really, really cool tutorial videos. I'm pestering the crap out of him to be on the show. So send him an email. Let him know that we're here. Or don't. I don't know. That's fine. Don't do that. All right. Yeah, that's going to be it for this week. So thank you again so much for joining us. I hope that you have a wonderful holiday season. We're not going to be here next week. I'm going to take a week off. Then we'll be right back in January with more episodes, more material. Like I said, I got a lot of stuff coming. It's all coming. It's all happening. And I got the energy for it. So, all right. Take it easy, friends.